back with Sean Collins again. Sean, this bumper cover has a tear in it. How are we going to go about repairing it?
Well, we're going to do a two-sided welded repair with an airless plastic welder. And because there's no material missing from the repair area, we're going to be able to fuse that repair together using just the material that's there.
What if there was some material missing? What would we do then?
Right, if there was a hole or some material missing there, then we would have to use an additional plastic welding rod to fill in that missing area.
All right, Sean, now that we have the bumper cover all cleaned, what's our first step?
Well, the first step is to make sure that the tear is perfectly aligned. So if there's any deformation of the plastic in that area, we're going to want to heat that up and reshape it to make sure that the tear is perfectly aligned.
All right, and why do we want to start on the back side?
Right, we always want to start on the back side first because when we're using an airless welder on the back, it's actually going to push up a small lump on the front side from the heat. So we'll address that lump when we turn it over and repair the front side.
All right, let's get started.
So the first thing I'm going to do is secure the tear to make sure that it stays aligned throughout the repair process. So I'm going to use some aluminum tape and apply it over the surface. I'm going to press it down firmly with a spreader just to make sure that that tear stays perfectly aligned as we make our repair.
I see you have several different attachments for the airless welder. You want to explain what the difference is?
That's right. This is the traditional tip that most technicians are used to using. And this was used because we used a welding rod, and you would feed the welding rod through the melt tube and melt the plastic into the repair area. But in this repair, because we're not going to use a welding rod, we're going to actually use a tip like this that has a larger surface area that allows us to melt a path through the repair material to create a nice wide melted repair. The next step in the repair process, I'm going to begin to fuse this material together here. And again, because we have enough material left there, I'm not going to be using a welding rod. I'm going to melt together the existing material. The important thing here is to do a small spot one at a time, where I'm going to melt a few little spots, then go back and smooth it over before it has a chance to cool. So we're going to take it step by step down that tear. So I'm going to begin at the end of the tear here. I'm going to press into the welded area and begin to melt that plastic. And as you can see, I'm going to go back over it before I get too far and smooth it all together. A little farther. The important thing here also is to go at least push down halfway into the plastic. When we flip this over and do the front side, I'm going to press down halfway into the front so we're fusing the entire length of the crack together completely through the plastic. You want to try not to overwork and melt it too many times as well. Just one pass works best. So the back side is completely fused together. The next step is going to be to apply a type of reinforcement to the repair area.
Sean, I see we have an aluminum screen there. What are we going to be using that for?
Well, we're going to melt this into the damaged area that we've already fused together. And this is just going to provide some additional reinforcement and strength to that repair area. So the first thing I need to do here is take a piece that fits into that repair area, and then I want to trim that to make sure there's no loose ends or frayed edges, and cut it down to size. I want this to overlap that damaged area by about 3/4 of an inch on each side. The next thing I'm going to do here is press this into place over the damaged area. And I'm going to begin by using my welder, which has been previously cleaned, and push this metal screen down into the backing. This is the reason we repair the backside first. because as you can see, I'm applying some pressure and pushing down, and the pressure along with the heat from the welder tends to push a high spot onto the front of the bumper cover. This can be done by just pressing down on the welder and backing up slowly and pushing the screen into that repaired area. You're going to want to adjust your welder so that it's hot enough to melt the plastic to sufficiently push it under the surface, the screen under the surface. So now we've completely pushed the screen under the plastic surface just to provide some extra strength and reinforcement, and we're ready for the next step of the repair. The next step we need to do is to remove the aluminum tape from the front side of the repair area. Once I've removed the tape, you can see that there's a slight high spot here from the heat from the back side. We've also allowed this repair area to cool sufficiently before the tape is removed. The next step in the process is for us to remove the paint coatings from the area so we can fuse the front side together.
I see that we have all the finish removed from the repair area. Are there any special considerations we have to take?
Yes, the important thing here is to make sure that we get all the paint out of that damaged area. We don't want to mix any paint residue into the molten plastic. So I'm going to begin by fusing the plastic together as we did on the back side, on the front side now, using the airless welder. I'm taking care to make sure that I'm pressing down halfway into the plastic and melting halfway in to join the molten plastic from the front side with the plastic we melted on the back side, so the entire crack is completely melted. Once this step is completed, we'll have to sand this surface down and prepare it for a plastic repair material.
Oh, our repair is looking great. Is there anything we have to watch out for?
Well, it's very important. One common mistake that's made is that while sanding this repair area to prepare it for a filler, technicians often leave some small areas where there's shiny molten plastic left. They want to make sure they sand those areas completely to remove any shiny plastic. Any plastic that's melted, repair material will not stick to it, and it often fails in the bake cycle during the paint process. So we want to resand this and make sure that all the shiny areas are removed.